Hi friends, welcome back to a new video here on my channel. So as you can tell by the title, today's video is going to be just a little bit different. I get a few questions sometimes about where I am like with school and all that type of stuff. So that is what I'm going to be talking about today. If you are interested in hearing about all of that, just keep watching. If you're not, no worries. I'll see you in another video. So I'm just going to do this the easiest way I think is, which is just starting from the beginning. So in 2016, I graduated high school, and straight from there, I went to ASU and the Honors College. So from 2016 to 2019, I was at ASU. So that's 3 years, but I really only completed 2 years because the fall semester of 2018 to the spring semester of 2019, I did not pass a single class. So I failed 2 whole semesters. I was going through really bad depression. I talk about this a lot more in depth in another video that I made way back when, but I basically couldn't keep a job. I was not doing my work. That was about the time that I was gaining a lot of my weight that I have now. Yeah, so basically I was just going through a really hard time. The first semester where I didn't pass at all, I got put on academic probation. The next semester, when I again didn't pass any classes, I got dropped. So from summer 2019 to summer of 2020, I did not go to school at all, which was really weird for me because I had been in school ever since obviously I was a child. So it was really weird for me to not be in school, and I really used that time to try to recover as best as I could from depression. It didn't get a whole lot better. Well, no, I don't want to say that. I did get better, but I didn't fully recover is what I mean. So I took that time to try to do that, but I was also paying back some of the scholarship money that I ended up owing because I was on full scholarship, so I had to pay some of that back. And then finally last year, which was fall 2020 to just the semester that just ended, is when I went back to school. But this time I didn't go straight back to ASU because I couldn't. I went to a community college and I actually started a different degree. When I first started at ASU, I was studying journalism. So I did 2 years for my journalism degree, done. I just finished my first year for accounting. So now the plan is that this upcoming school year, I am going to be finishing my second year for accounting. And then after that, I'm going to go back to ASU, finish up my bachelor's for accounting and my journalism degree that I had started a while ago. So I just want to quickly talk about why I started an accounting degree in addition to my journalism degree. So what really initiated that idea of starting the accounting degree was actually another budgeting YouTuber. Her name is Sarah Marie. She was an accountant, but now she does full-time YouTube. But anyways, before, when she was an accountant, she would do a lot of day in the life of an accountant. She would do a lot of Q&As about being an accountant, and I just found myself really interested in those videos that she made. So interested that I started looking at courses at my community college, the courses I would have to take to become an accountant, and I thought that I would enjoy those. I could imagine myself being in those classes and enjoying those classes. So that kind of just snowballed into me signing up and now taking the classes. And then a few other things that I just learned along the way that kind of solidified it for me was, one, it is a really stable field. Accounting provides a stable paycheck and also good pay, which is not something that's absolutely guaranteed with a journalism degree. And then another thing was just that I do see myself being in the finance industry. So this just seemed like the perfect match for me. Again, I just finished my first year for my accounting degree. So I didn't take a lot of classes that were specifically for accounting. I only took one accounting class. I enjoyed it for the most part. It was just different, obviously. I was learning it for the first time, so it was a lot, but it was good. I want to say I've already signed up for my courses for this upcoming semester, and I am taking a lot more accounting specific classes. I'm taking accounting 2 and then managerial accounting, another math class. I don't know which math class, but I know it's going to be harder than calculus because that's what I took last semester. I'm also going to be taking general business class, like an intro to business, I think. And then the last one was an elective, and I chose Holocaust studies. I've also heard in a lot of videos that I watched about accounting that these classes that I'm taking this semester are really where you find out personally if accounting is for you, because they're harder and they're a lot more accounting focused. So if you do good in these classes and you actually enjoy the classes, then you know that you want to continue with it. So I'm very interested in seeing how this semester goes. One huge thing is that my official graduation year is going to be 2024, which is exactly 8 years after I graduated. So it is going to take me 8 years to get my bachelor's degree, which usually most people get in 4 to 5 years. And at first that was kind of hard for me to accept, but not really, just because I know where I was or how bad I was during my depression era time, like my really hardcore depression time, and where I am now, if that makes any type of sense. So for example, I went from failing an entire year of school to taking some time, and then last semester, or the last school year, I passed with all A's and B's except for 1 C, which I am really, really proud of. I think that's a really huge accomplishment, because after that school year where I failed, where I had never failed a class before, I hardly failed any test before that, I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue with my education. I didn't know if I was going to be able to handle it or even be good at handling it, if that makes sense as well. There were just a lot of things I didn't know, so I was really, really nervous and anxious about returning back to school. So yeah, again, I'm just really, really proud of how I did this school year with my grades and handling my assignments and all of that stuff. So that is where I am at now. Before I end the video, I do want to just talk a little bit about some things that helped me get to the point where I am of accepting that it's going to take me 8 years. So if anyone else is in a similar position, or you just want to hear, this part is for you. So one thing that really, really helped me understand and accept the position that I am now is a quote. It may sound really cheesy, and it probably is that you are not a failure until you give up. So just because I failed an entire school year and I didn't go to school for a whole year and all of that stuff, I don't count that as making me a failure. I only consider myself a failure if I had just given up and just not enrolled back in school, not continued with what I wanted to do. If I was too afraid to continue or anything like that, that's when I would have considered myself a failure. But just because I went through some rough stuff doesn't make me a failure. The fact that I got up from it and I'm continuing, and even though it's going to take me a lot longer to get where I want to be, I'm still going to do it. That 100% does not make me a failure. So if you're in the same position where you're trying to get somewhere where you want to be, and just because it's taking you a lot longer than you expect, or if you're older than what you want it to be, if you're a lot older, or if you're just experiencing so many setbacks, you don't know if you'll ever get there, none of that makes you a failure, okay? Period. So that's one thing that really helps me. Another thing is to just think about the fact that time doesn't wait for anyone. Would you rather spend the time that's gonna pass by anyways, not continuing to what you actually wanna do, or do you wanna spend that time on what you do wanna do? And then the last kind of thing that has kind of helped me is that I would rather much be where I am right now, which is basically starting over from scratch and being at the level of happiness that I am at now. I would take this over having my bachelor's degree and still being at that same depression level that I was at before. It really just ties into the idea that just because someone has a career, someone has a degree, someone gets paid a lot more, whatever it is, just because someone has that and you don't, doesn't make them any happier than what you are. Even if you're not all that happy, they could be a lot worse off. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, is that the degree, the career, the money, the status, the whatever, it does not mean that that person is happier than you or more fulfilled than you or anything like that. Yeah, those are a lot of things that I think about when I kind of sort of feel down a little bit. For example, I've been seeing a lot of my friends, or like the people that that I went to high school with, you know, posting their graduation pics, starting their new jobs and all of that stuff, which is really, really great, and I'm really happy for them. But of course there was a quick moment where I was jealous or felt left behind or felt like I was too slow or anything like that. I just started reminding myself and affirming myself of all of the things that I just told you. And those feelings, those negative feelings, didn't last very long because I am where I'm supposed to be and going where I need to be at my own pace. So this pretty much turned more into like a motivational pep talk rather than just like updating you about my life, or at least my school life. But either way, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, you can just leave them down in the comments below. I always try my best to get back to you guys as quick as I can. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a little thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, definitely subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you guys soon.